What's up, everybody? It's a beautiful evening. Thank you very much for coming back here. I appreciate you very much. I salute you. I see you on the comment section coming very strong, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for commenting. It's great. It shouldn't be just about me talking. No, it should be all of us expressing ourselves and some of us learning from others. We are a family. Thank you for being part of this. I send my greetings to South Africa, greetings to Kenya. I see you, Nigeria, Ghana. I see you, all of you guys, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Congo. Thank you so much for being part of this. I appreciate you. And all of you in the US and the Caribbeans as well. Thank you very much. We're a big family, okay? So today we're going to talk again about Russia. In fact, many African countries went to Russia with the summit of African nations, where many African presidents met the president of Russia with his delegation, discussing business and opportunities for Africans. I think it was a beautiful opportunity where it clearly showed to the world that Africans have sort of chosen their side. They went with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of will. Okay, so now here we have the president of Eritrea. I'm sure you've heard of Eritrea. Eritrea is one of those beautiful countries that not spoken very much on a good light. Yeah, most of the time they try demonize Eritrea, say negative things. They've been deemed the North Korea of Africa. I'm sure you heard about that, right? But in the meantime, they don't tell you Eritrea has got one of the best education systems in Africa. Eritrea has some of the best water system in Africa. Eritrea has some of the most literate people in Africa. Very, very interesting. They don't tell you that. Why? Because Eritreans choose to live life in their own way. They don't want you to come and mingle in the internal businesses. So the Eritrean was in Russia and he had an interview with a very interesting person. We're going to watch this and I'm going to make a comment right after. Or maybe a comment as we go.
I've got a lot of questions about this Russia-Africa summit and the kind of cooperation that's been going on and will go on between your country and the Russian Federation, as well as the African continent in general.
Just so you know, when they say country is a dictatorship, you need to ask yourself your own questions. Once you hear them say this is the North Korea of Africa or any other country, you need to doubt and ask yourself questions. When you hear them attacking a country very specifically, constantly, you need to ask yourself questions, because most of the time it's because that country refused to open the doors to them. Let's go.
In the context of the Russia-Africa summit, there were a lot of reports of Western powers trying to pressure African countries into not coming to this summit. I wanted to ask if you yourself ran into any of these attempts by the West to pressure you, or then in general, for those that did receive some sort of pressure from the West, why would you think the West would try to stop them from participating in this summit?
So some countries receive pressure from the West, trying to prevent them from going to Russia in this big summit. Can you imagine it? 2023, you are being pressured as a country from another country to not go where you want to go. Unbelievable.
It's a show of their weakness, their ideology of not only containing Russia, but containing everyone who doesn't bow to this ideology. I've been there for the last 30 years. You will be punished if you are not in line with their way of thinking. It's either sanctions, it's either demonizing this or that guy, and using all sorts of tools, including the World Bank, IMF, and other tools they use to pressure everybody to bow to this ideology. And people are fed up of this behavior, this culture of domination, hegemony. Everybody is fed up of it.
People are fed up, and he's planning very clearly here. This is one of the main reasons why African nations are going to Russia. I'm sure you've asked yourself a question. Why are suddenly most of the people going to Russia? What's happening? It's because people are fed up. Like he said, they are tired of being told how to live. They are tired of being commanded how to live their lives, how to think, what to accept, what's just, what's correct. Most African countries that ask for help from the IMF or World Bank, in order to receive help from World Bank or IMF, they're going probably to ask you to change your constitution. They're probably going to lecture you about democracy. Your country is not democratic enough. You need to fix A, B, C, D, Z before we give you any sort of help. And even when you get help from them, they still want to tell you how you're going to spend money and in which company you're going to spend your money on. So people are fed up. They want freedom. Let's go.
The people in Africa, above any other continent, would like to see this process going forward and changing their quality of life, not for this generation, but for the coming generation. So they would use every tool like they're using now Ukraine to give the impression that this is a fight between Russia and Ukraine. This has nothing to do with Ukraine and Russia. This is their declared war that has been there for the last 30 years, and it's not only Russia. It's for everybody else. Everywhere in Asia, in Latin America, Europe, the Americas, people are fed up of this thing. And when they try to pressure someone who doesn't bow to this ideology, it only emphasizes the fact that they are fed up. They are failed. Their mission has failed.
Very, very powerful. Very, very interesting to hear the president of Eritrea express himself in those terms. We know most of the time people are very scared to speak like that, right? Because then you get sanctioned. If you don't get sanctioned, they're going to find other ways to stop you from speaking. And the president of Eritrea has been very, very strong. He's not be afraid. Okay, I know most African presidents, we need to say it, are scared. Okay, even sometimes they know what to do, but they're too scared to express themselves because they feel like it's like putting a time bomb to their life. Because the majority of time, when you tend to stand strong against the hegemony of the Western countries, you don't survive for too long. Same for, look at the simple example, Mohammed Gaddafi. He tried to bring an alternative way of living for Africans. He was terminated. Look at Idi Amin, very similar story. Look at Thomas Sankara of the Burkina Faso country, one of the most loveliest people I've ever encountered. He was the first president to reduce his own salary. Yes, he reduced his own salary, and he pushed many women into government. First president. He said we need to produce food in our own countries. We need to dress up. We need to support our local tailors, put our own clothes. A lot of people did not like him because he was pushing Africa forward. Yes, he was a young man, 30-something-year-old, pushing the country forward, asking other presidents not to pay the IMF, not to pay the debt that doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, he was turned against by his own people. Not his own people, some of the people that know him best. Most strong African leaders, most of the time, they are given away by very close brothers, sisters, and friends. That's a very sad situation. So this is very interesting. There are many things to talk about in this situation. I want to know what you think about regarding the Eritrean president. He's being strong, and that's clear. But is he being too strong on expressing himself, saying that the West asks you to do things their way? If you don't, then they sanction you. Then they try to control you. If they can't control you, then they try to find the most drastic way of punishing you. And people are fed up. Because by speaking like that, he's inspired, and he's still inspiring many other leaders to think the same way. Is this dangerous for him? How dangerous can this be for him? I want to know how you feel about this. Do Africa have a future with Russia? I want to see your implication in this. Can Africa build something substantial with Russia as opposed to what was happening with the West? Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure. Please write a comment. We want to read from you. We want to learn from you. God bless.